Hello and very warm welcome to the Amish Shackle 5858. I am Amish Shackle. Following are the news headlines which have been reported by American, European, Canadian, Asian, African, and uh, European news channels. So please let's go to the headlines.
Tonight there is breaking news as we come on the air. The pictures coming in right now. There's been a deadly shooting at a Target, multiple people dead. Also a major explosion at a U.S. steel plant. It's been deadly. There is a search right now. And the small plane coming in for landing, careening off the runway, crashing into multiple planes, flames shooting in the air. First tonight, this deadly shooting late today outside a Target in Austin. Police racing to the scene. What we've learned about the victims at this hour. Also, emergency crews on the scene of that deadly steel plant explosion outside Pittsburgh. It's been deadly, and there's a search right now for the missing. We're on the scene. Also just in, the small plane coming in for landing, going right off that runway, crashing into multiple planes, what we've learned. Tonight, just 4 days before the high-stakes summit, President Trump and Vladimir Putin. Tonight, what the president now says he'll say to Putin, and what President Trump said when asked about President Zelensky not being there and the future of Ukraine. Mark the Reddit standing by. Tonight, President Trump ordering the National Guard to take over policing in the nation's capital. Tonight, the mayor of Washington pushing back with the crime stats and what they actually show. Tonight, could this be the first hurricane in the Atlantic, the tropical storm, now set to become a hurricane, and the potential tracks tonight, some bringing it very close to the East Coast. Ginger Z is here. An Israeli airstrike killing 6 journalists in Gaza, and what Israel is now claiming about one of the journalists. The scare in the water, a 75-foot passenger boat running aground in rough seas. The victory celebration cut short, the NASCAR driver badly injured when he suddenly fell off his car after victory. There's news tonight about the death of Kelly Clarkson's ex-husband, the father of her children, the cause of death revealed. And America Strong tonight, the 100-year-old World War II pilot, back in the air tonight. You've got to see it. From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is a story in 5 words. Is Kimmel really this clueless?
Republicans know the difference between right and wrong in general. Like, they know what they're doing. Something is, I don't know. But the left, I find in general, the party that is about inclusivity is incredibly elitist.
But it's not. It's not the party. It's not the majority. It's the loud voices that scare people from saying what they believe and make you think twice about or whatever. These things. And a lot of their points are valid, but a lot of them are also just repulsive. And I mean, they repel people from. They go like, "Oh, you're no fun. I don't want to be around you."
So, Jeff, this is amazing in this lack of self-awareness that he was the loudest voice in all of this. What could he be talking about?
It's so smug. I've noticed this formula, and it's in comedy all the time. Mark Maron just did it in his recent special.
Yes, I saw that.
And I think Andy Haynes did it first, which is he's a good stand-up comedian, but a very lefty guy. And now you hear Jimmy Kimmel doing it. It's like, well, we're not wrong. We're just so annoyingly right that we're pushing people into conservatism. And it's like, so you're still being smug and acting like, well, no, we're just so good. And we're so inclusive that can be a little jarring, and it's pushing people. No, I got news for you. It's annoying, you're right. But also, you're just wrong. You're wrong. It's both. That's the problem.
Michael, should we be grateful, though, that he's admitting this, even though he doesn't see himself as part of the problem? At least he actually admits there is a problem.
I would also point out that both of these people were blackface.
Yes.
Have no consequences for it whatsoever. He sees the writing on the wall. He knows he's next. Sarah Silverman, has had a popular career stand for a while. If Jimmy Kimmel thinks he's going to transition to doing podcasts, he's got another thing coming. Because check him and Colbert and all these others, without the network behind them, they're DOA specifically because they're such repulsive, uncharismatic personalities. It's very hard to listen to them and think, you know what, this person thinks like I do. Even if I'm a leftist, it's not. There's no empathy or sympathy to be had from their mouths.
Kat, I want to play this other little clip from this podcast where he's talking about fleeing the country.
Yeah.
A lot of people I know are thinking about where they can get citizenship.
I do have Italian. I did get Italian citizenship.
You do? That's amazing.
I do have that. And what's going on is as bad as you thought it was going to be.
Way worse.
So, Kat, he says that people are just saying extreme opinions. Fleeing the country is an extreme opinion.
Yes, I would say so. And also just the way they're still doing it, even when they're talking about how they shouldn't do it. I'd say more so him than Sarah Silverman. In talking about how, like, yeah, we're just so right, but these people just don't understand. And I think they're getting annoyed by how we act, about how right we are, as if they're talking about children and not adults that have opinions, and their opinions mean just as much to them as your opinions mean to you. And they're still not understanding that. They're still having, I think, less so, because I think in the past, Sarah Silverman has done other interviews where she said things like progressives need to allow for progress, talking about forgiveness and that kind of a thing. So more so
Newfoundland and Labrador's fast-moving wildfires this Monday night, the evacuations,
Mom's more safe. Just me.
and how AI could help in Canada's firefight. Israel kills 6 journalists in Gaza.
Israel government doesn't have any shape in admitting that it's targeting journalists.
Why the highest-profile victim knew he was in Israel's sights. A day of action from Air Canada's flight attendants, their demands for a raise and an end to unpaid work. Plus, Major League Baseball finally steps up to the plate.
The dream actually came true.
The league's first woman umpire, and why other sports lag behind. Good evening and thanks for joining us. We begin with escalating wildfires from coast to coast to coast. It is hot and dry across much of the country, and new fires are being sparked as emergency crews try to gain control. The outlook is particularly dire in Atlantic Canada. In Newfoundland and Labrador, 7 fires are now burning out of control, and people close to a new blaze near the capital, St. John's, are on alert, ready to leave at a moment's notice. In New Brunswick, hundreds of people have been told to be ready to leave at short notice too, as 3 big fires there keep growing. There are hundreds of out-of-control fires burning in nearly every province and territory. The Canadian Interagency Forest Fire Centre calls it the second worst wildfire season on record. Our coverage begins with Heidi Petrachuk, who is near St. John's tonight.
Some go to where the building reach to meet the cloud.
Larry Baldwin comes to the evacuee center in Carbonear to offer comfort through song to friends, neighbors, and even strangers who had to flee wildfire.
Yeah, you worry a lot about people, friends. I got friends and people who are affected. Hard for everybody. You can leave that fall.
Tonight, the massive factory explosion and the search for the missing. The intense rescue mission inside a steel plant after the giant explosions sent a tower plume of smoke into the air. 1 person killed, another missing, and 10 more injured. What happened? And the concern tonight about the air. Also breaking tonight, the killings inside of a Target parking lot. A man in custody accused of shooting 3 people and carjacking 2 cars in Austin, Texas. The flash flood emergency in Wisconsin, plus the incredible lightning strike caught on camera as we track Tropical Storm Erin, where it's headed, and will it become a hurricane? The president's D.C. takeover, declaring a crime emergency and taking control of the city's police department and sending in the National Guard. Washington's mayor calling it, quote, unsettling and unprecedented as protesters take to the streets. Plus, why a judge just denied the president's request to release the Ghislaine Maxwell grand jury transcripts. Ukraine with that high-stakes summit just days away in Alaska. Trump and Putin face-to-face. But is it still on track? And will a key ally, Ukraine, be left in the cold? The high-speed chase through Los Angeles, armed carjackers stealing 3 different vehicles, including a big rig truck. Is finished. And the moment of pure joy caught on camera. Wait till you meet this 5-year-old and hear why that ribbon meant so much. Nightly News starts right now. This is NBC Nightly News with Tom Youngins. Hey, good evening. As we come on the air, the deadly...
TV News can exclusively reveal a record-breaking fault arrival.
Found a migrant across the lake.
And holiday arrivals in migrant camps, not hotels.
Donald Trump shares new details ahead of his meeting with Vladimir Putin on Friday.
I'm going to have a meeting with Vladimir Putin, and at the end of that meeting, probably in the first 2 minutes, I'll know exactly whether or not a deal can be made.
Going to be a good day today. An amber heat alert coming into force from 9 o'clock as temperatures could reach 35 degrees. That's in parts of England.
Should activists stop calling for certain statues to be removed? Well, as a Labour sculpture in central London be torn down, we're debating, is it time to protect Britain's statues?
Are you feeling the heat? Yes, there's a lot of fine weather, but with that, temperatures rising even higher than yesterday. I'll have the details coming up.
So hello there, good morning to you. Thank you for your company. It's just gone 6 o'clock. I'm Eamon Hopes.
I'm Ellie Costello, and this is GB News Breakfast.
At odds24.com.
Good morning, I'm Oliver Farry, and this is Daybreak. The United States and China give each other some breathing room as a tariff trade is China-Lee invasion. Washington, D.C.'s mayor describes Donald Trump's decision to send the National Guard onto the streets of the capital as unsettling but not surprising. Muriel Bowser was speaking after Trump said he wanted the troops to fight homelessness and crime in Washington, despite crime figures being at a 30-year low. The United Nations and the European Union condemned the killings of Anas al-Sharif and 4 other Al Jazeera journalists in an Israeli strike on Sunday. The news channel also rejects as baseless Israel's allegation that Sharif was the head of a Hamas cell posing as a journalist.
Good morning. At 6 o'clock on today's show, migrant boat crossings under Labour are expected to pass 50,000 when the latest figures are published this morning.
Plus, warnings of a nationally significant water shortfall after the driest 6 months since 1976.
It's Tuesday, the 12th of August. Your headlines. The Conservatives accuse Keir Starmer of presiding over the worst illegal immigration crisis in British history. We'll speak to the government just after 7. Donald Trump says he'll know in the first 2 minutes whether he can make a deal with Russia at Friday's historic summit. We have a special report on how settler violence in the West Bank is undermining hopes for peace between Israelis and Palestinians.
Turn off the camera. Turn around. Go away. Thank you very much. Okay, but can I told you 3 times. This is military territory. Please turn around, turn off the camera, and go away.
The heat wave is expected to peak today with temperatures of 34 degrees in some parts of the country, but there's a warning also of a potential drought. And in sports, the US Open just around the corner, and Emma Raducanu fallen just short against world number 1 Arina Sabalenka in Cincinnati.
ABC Listen app.
Today, the Reserve Bank to hand down its highly anticipated interest rate decision. We'll have full coverage and analysis this hour. The Prime Minister says Israel's leader is in denial about the Gaza conflict after criticism of Australia's moves to recognise a Palestinian state.
People queuing for food and water, losing their lives, is just completely unacceptable.
Security blitz, Richard Marles and Penny Wong spruik bilateral security deals across. As food worker awarded $300,000 in a landmark sexual harassment case. Welcome to ABC News. I'm Ross Childs. The Reserve Bank is widely expected to cut interest rates when it has the RBA kept rates unchanged at 3.85% last month, despite economists widely expecting a cut. A special coverage of the decision and market reaction.
odds, Jeff Bennett is away. On the NewsHour tonight, President Trump places the Washington, D.C. police under federal control and deploys the National Guard, claiming a crime emergency despite the data showing a decline. Israel targets and kills several journalists in Gaza as more countries plan to recognize the Palestinian state. And how the Trump administration's hardline immigration policies are affecting nursing homes across the country.
There are already huge numbers of vacancies for nursing home workers, and if the immigrants who are now filling those jobs
This is an emergency. The numbers show crime in Washington, D.C. is down, but the president claims it's out of control.
Our capital city has been overtaken by violent gangs and bloodthirsty criminals.
So he's taking charge of law enforcement in the federal city.
From CBS News headquarters in New York, this is the CBS Evening News.
Good evening, I'm John Dickerson.
I'm Maurice Dubois.
Theodore Roosevelt was once the police commissioner here in New York City, but that was before he was president. Today, Donald Trump, the sitting president, put himself in charge of the police force in Washington, D.C.
The president said, despite evidence to the contrary, that crime in the nation's capital is out of control. It has actually been declining since the pandemic.
The president's takeover of law enforcement in Washington will include armed federal agents manning posts near the Metropolitan Police.
And hundreds of National Guard troops are getting ready to hit streets. Correspondent McFarland joins us now. And Scott, this is a big turnaround from just a few months ago.
This is Asia Now.
Hello, it's 2 p.m. in Singapore and Hong Kong. 11. You want to President Xi Jinping is trying to build his model what he calls self-reliance for the global south, reiterating his opposition to protectionism in a bold on his Brazilian counterpart. 26 European leaders say Ukraine should have the freedom to decide its future, emphasizing that a democratic leadership must hold Ukrainian and European interests.
This is DW News. You would have seen, besides imposed tariffs, free time. Negotiators now Trump down expectation is a lot of summit. The president says
Africa News. The news.
United States President Donald Trump said on Monday that he'll know within the first 2 minutes of his upcoming meeting with Vladimir Putin whether a deal can be made on ending the war in Ukraine. Trump spoke to reporters in the White House ahead of his Friday talks with the Russian leader in Alaska.
I expect to have a meeting with Putin that I think it'll be good, but it might be bad. And I'm here for one reason, to get rid of a war that somebody else started. Should have never happened. And if I could end it, great. Complex war, a lot of bad blood, but Zelensky's been there for 3.5 years, so if you put him in a room, now I will say this, ultimately I'm going to put the two of them in a room. I'll be there or I won't be there, and I think it'll get solved.
European leaders have invited Donald Trump to an emergency virtual summit on Wednesday in hopes of persuading him to protect Ukrainian interests during his meeting with Vladimir Putin.
Authorities in Iran have ordered government offices and public institutions in 16 provinces, including Tehran, to close Wednesday to conserve power as brutal heat wave continues. Temperatures are expected to hit 50 degrees Celsius in some areas, with the extreme weather predicted to last at least 5 more days. Tehran has seen its lowest rainfall in 6 decades, straining water supplies. President Mashoud Pezeshkian warns that dams supplying Tehran could run dry within months if consumption isn't cut. Some cities have faced 48 hours water shutoffs, while power grid buckle under air conditioning demand. Experts say Iran's growing population and poor policies have pushed resources to the brink, with heat, drought, and shortages now a dire reality. For now, officials urge conservation, but time is running out. A young entrepreneur from Kenya is harnessing AI to break down communication barriers for the deaf community. His startup Tab 360 is Africa's first AI-powered sign language translation platform designed specifically for local users. This groundbreaking innovation aims to transform communication and improve lives for the deaf and hearing alike.
Signverse is an assistive technology, a social enterprise with a mission to bridge communication barriers for the deaf community. And how we do this is we've built Africa's first AI translation platform called Tab 360. We like to call it Google Translate for Sign Language. And how this works is it interprets text and speech input and outputs very fluid, natural avatars, which is a digital human that now signs the same way a human being does at scale.
Created in 2023 and honored with the Kenyan Presidential Innovation Award, Signverse is digitizing Kenyan sign language using motion capture to accurately preserve interpreters' signing movements.
The techniques that we're using to digitize sign language use motion capture systems to accurately record sign language motion. So looking at the body movement, hand rotation and articulation, facial expression, that enables us to accurately capture the linguistic and vibrant nature of sign language as a language, and what makes our platform unique.
Sabatia is confident his solution will grow by prioritizing the deaf community. With 2,000 users on Tab 360 web app, the mobile version will be launched in December 2025.
Robots that are not only able to run, dance and play football but can also sort pass in assembly line and even participate in a game of mahjong and boxing were once fantasized only confined to science but are now a reality unfolding at the ongoing World Robot Conference in China's Beijing. The robots you see here feature 29 degrees of freedom. It executes fluid movements including left-right punches and precise leg strikes and even performs combo moves. This model is now in mass production. Today's demonstration showcases its exceptional mobility performance. Only when robots achieve truly robust mobility capabilities can they generally enter every household and serve people effectively. Beyond entertainment, it serves industrial applications such as patrol and inspection tasks. Unity Robotics, headquartered in East China, Hangzhou, has brought its latest type of humanoid and quadrupedal robots to this expo.
New technology. I get to look for new innovations. I would like to partner a lot of Chinese companies to bring this to Nigeria, to Africa, so that we can have good show like this.
However, the crowd favorite has been a boxing match performed by the two largest upgraded GI robots. The mechanical boxers punch and defended like real human fighters while getting up to continue even after being knocked down.
Thank you for watching Amish Shakil 5858. I am Amish Shakil. I hope you will visit again. Have a good life. Bye-bye.